Welcome back to the Holy Discussion. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and like, share, and ding that bell icon so you don't miss out on future episodes. We're diving deep today into something I think you'll find really, really interesting, the power of words. Specifically the words that carry like a spiritual weight with them.
Yeah, that's a fascinating idea, right? That
Yeah.
certain words can kind of like resonate on this deeper level.
Yeah.
And not just impacting our emotions, but maybe even shaping our spiritual journeys.
Exactly. And our source material, this time it lays out 13 types of words that it claims can really make a difference.
Oh.
Like we're talking about opening spiritual doors, finding peace, and even maybe sparking miracles. It's
Yeah.
pretty intense stuff. Have you ever felt the impact of words that strongly, like either positive or negative?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we all have that experience where, a harsh word can stick with you for a while, or you get a kind word that just totally shifts your perspective.
Yeah.
And the source, it kind of takes that universal thing we've all gone through and suggests there's this deeper, like a spiritual side to it.
Yeah, totally. So let's jump into these 13 types of words.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is words of praise and worship.
Okay.
And the source really leans into this idea that, when we praise and worship, we're not just like, flattering some higher power. We're actually creating space for something bigger to come into our lives.
It's like that saying, music is the language of the soul, right? When we engage in praise and worship, whether it's through song, spoken word, or even just sitting there silently contemplating, we're tapping into something that resonates with something beyond just us.
Yeah, and they actually quote a proverb here.
Oh.
It says, the tongue has the power of life and death.
Wow.
And it makes me think of that story of the prisoners singing hymns during an earthquake.
Oh,
The prison shakes chains, break doors, swing open. It's like,
That's a pretty powerful image.
it's pretty dramatic, right?
Oh,
Like a
okay.
testament to the power of praise.
Yeah, for sure. And while we might not all have those crazy outward experiences,
Right.
I think the main message rings true that even when things seem impossible, lifting our voices in gratitude and hope can change things inside us and how we see the situation.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so we've got praise. Next up is words of confession and repentance.
Okay.
And this isn't just about admitting you messed up.
Mm-hmm.
The source kind of presents confession as this spiritual cleansing, a way to acknowledge your imperfections and then make space for growth.
There's something to that from a psychological point of view, too. Like
Yeah.
in cognitive behavioral therapy, they say you gotta recognize your negative thoughts before you can change them. Confession is almost like bringing those thoughts and actions out into the open
Yeah,
so you can deal with them and let go.
it's like airing out a musty room,
Exactly.
They also mention the story of King David's repentance after his, shall we say, little slip-up. His whole psalm is about wanting a clean heart and a fresh start.
It's a classic example of turning a mistake into a chance for serious spiritual and emotional growth. And that resonates with everyone, really, whether they're religious or not.
Yeah.
We all make mistakes, but it's owning up to them and learning that shapes who we are.
Okay, word number 3 is words of gratitude.
Yeah.
We hear a lot about gratitude these days.
Yeah, we do.
But the source digs into the why behind it, saying it's not just good manners. It's about shifting your focus from what you're missing to what you have.
And there's actually a lot of research backing that up.
Right.
Studies show that people who practice gratitude, they end up with better moods, stronger relationships, even better physical health.
Yeah, it's almost like you're retraining your brain to see the good, even when things are tough.
Yeah.
And there's this parable in the source material about these 10 people who get healed,
Okay.
but only one comes back to say thank you.
Yeah.
And let's just say the healer was not impressed with the other's lack of gratitude.
That's interesting. It makes you think that gratitude isn't just about receiving. It's about recognizing where the good in your life comes from and saying thank you.
Right.
And maybe even expressing that gratitude could open you up to getting even more good stuff.
Okay, so the question for you listening is, how much time do you actually spend expressing gratitude?
Right.
Could you find more reasons to be thankful even when things are tough?
It's something to think about no matter what you believe. Because the science is clear. Gratitude is good for you. It creates this positive cycle that benefits you and the people around you.
I like that.
Okay.
All right, next up is words of faith. Now, this one might seem a bit more abstract.
Okay.
The source actually quotes a passage that says, if you tell a mountain to move with enough faith, it will be done. So how literally are we supposed to take that?
That's a really good question. It makes you think about what faith really means.
Yeah.
Is it just blindly believing stuff even when it doesn't make sense? Or is it something more like trusting a power bigger than yourself?
Yeah.
A belief that even when things seem impossible, there's still hope.
Yeah, they showed a story about a person who believes so strongly in their healing that they just reach out to touch the healer's clothes, and they're instantly cured.
Wow.
It really shows that connection between faith and action, right?
Absolutely. It's not just thinking it, it's believing so strongly that you act even when it doesn't make sense to other people.
So are we saying that just by saying things with enough conviction, we can make them happen? That seems a little too easy, doesn't it?
I think it's more complicated than that. It's not about tricking the universe with your words.
Okay.
It's about aligning your words with your deepest wants and your biggest dreams.
Yeah.
And then actually acting on those beliefs. Recognizing that your mind can shape your reality.
I'm starting to see the connection here. It's not just the words themselves, it's the belief behind them, the intention, the energy.
Exactly. And that's where the true power lies. It's tapping into this inner strength that helps you beat challenges and do things you never thought possible.
Okay, and that brings us to number 5. Words of prayer and intercession. This one seems pretty straightforward, right?
Yep.
Communicating with the divine, asking for guidance, support, strength.
Yeah, but there's a deeper layer here too.
Okay.
The source material says that even when we don't know how to pray, even when words fail us, there's a force that intercedes for us.
There's a passage they cite here. It says, "We don't know what we ought to pray for, but the Spirit himself intercedes for us through wordless groans."
Oh.
It's like, even when we're struggling to find the words, our hearts are still speaking.
That's beautiful, isn't it? Like there's this communication that goes beyond language.
Yeah.
A connection that's deeper than what our human minds can grasp.
Then there's the story of this prophet who intercedes on behalf of their people.
Okay.
After they, let's just say they really messed up.
Yeah.
And because of the prophet's prayer, they get forgiveness.
It shows how prayer can affect not just our own lives, but the lives of others too. Like our prayers can create this wave of compassion and forgiveness that goes way beyond ourselves.
And they also talk about how the most wise spiritual teachers, they often went off to pray alone. Like emphasizing the importance of having a regular prayer practice.
Right.
Making space in our lives for quiet and connection with the divine.
That makes sense.
So I'm curious, for you listening, how do you make prayer a bigger part of your life? What if you set aside a little time each day, even just a few minutes, to connect with something bigger than yourself?
Yeah.
To listen to that inner voice, to offer your gratitude, your hopes, your fears.
It's definitely worth trying. And remember, prayer doesn't have to be confined to a specific time or place. It can be a conversation you're always having, a way to carry that feeling of connection and guidance with you all day long.
I like that. We've covered a lot, haven't we? But don't worry, there's still more to unpack.
Oh, good.
We got 8 more types of powerful words to dive into, so stick around. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors.
Welcome back to the Holy Discussion. We're going to continue to dive into these 13 types of words that can really impact our lives.
Okay. Yeah, picking up where we left off, the next type of word on our list is words of encouragement. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. We all know how good it feels to get a kind word or a little boost when we're down.
Right.
But the source kind of takes it a step further, suggesting that words of encouragement, they're not just niceties. They can actually help people like tap into their full potential.
And there's this fascinating story they tell about this figure from history.
Okay.
And their name literally meant son of encouragement.
Wow.
This person was known for just constantly supporting others, lifting people up, helping them stay strong when things got tough. It's like they understood the power of positive reinforcement way before it became like a trendy concept.
Yeah, and they quote this proverb, "Anxiety weighs down the heart, but a kind word cheers it up." Man, I've definitely felt that. A simple compliment or a word of appreciation can totally change my mood.
Yeah, it really shows you the impact our words can have on other people's emotions.
For sure.
And it's a reminder that even small acts of kindness can go a long way.
You know what strikes me is that encouraging others isn't just about being nice.
Yeah.
It's also about creating a sense of community and purpose.
Yeah.
There's this quote from an ancient text that says, "Therefore encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing."
I like that. It highlights how encouragement isn't just a one-person thing. It's something we do together.
Right.
Building a culture where people feel valued, respected, and empowered.
So what if we all made a conscious effort to be more encouraging, to really see the good in others and just say it, to offer support and affirmation, even in those small everyday interactions?
Yeah, I think it could have this ripple effect.
Yeah.
Not just in the lives of those around us, but in our own lives too. Because Let's be honest, giving encouragement feels good.
It does.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Kindness breeds kindness.
Yeah.
Encouragement can be contagious in the best possible way.
Okay, moving on to words of forgiveness. This one can be a bit tougher, right?
Yeah.
Forgiving someone who's hurt us, letting go of that anger and resentment.
It's hard. It's not always easy. But the source material really makes a strong case for why it's so important for our own spiritual well-being.
There's this powerful teaching that says, if you forgive others when they sin against you, then your heavenly parent will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others their sins, your heavenly parent will not forgive your sins. And regardless of your religious beliefs, I think there's a deep psychological truth in that.
Right. Holding on to anger and resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Exactly.
We're the ones who end up suffering.
Forgiveness isn't about saying what they did was okay or letting them off the hook.
Right.
It's about freeing ourselves from that negativity so we can move on.
The source shares this really compelling story about a person who forgives their siblings
Okay.
after being betrayed in the worst possible way.
Wow.
And not only do they forgive, but they actually come to see like a higher purpose in the whole experience.
That's amazing. It shows how even the most painful things can lead to growth and transformation.
Right.
Forgiveness is hard, but it can really be the key to unlocking that growth.
And of course, there's this story of the ultimate act of forgiveness.
Right.
From the one who said, forgive them for they know not what they do.
It's such a high standard.
Talk about a high bar.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it really emphasizes that forgiveness at its core is about unconditional love and compassion.
It challenges us to think about how we can extend that same understanding and empathy even to people who've hurt us deeply.
So how do we cultivate a more forgiving heart?
Right.
Is it as simple as saying, I forgive you, or is it something more?
Yeah.
A change in our perspective, a willingness to see the humanity in those who've wronged us?
I think it's a journey.
Yeah.
A process of letting go,
Right.
releasing the pain and negativity that's holding us back. And it often takes time and patience.
Yeah.
And a willingness to look inside ourselves and examine our own wounds.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit to number 8, life testimonies. This one feels a little different from the others. It's not so much about the specific words, but about sharing our personal stories.
Right.
Of overcoming challenges and finding meaning.
There's a vulnerability in sharing our stories, isn't there?
Yeah.
Opening up, letting people see our struggles and triumphs, and connecting with others on a deeper level.
They use the example of someone who was healed and simply says, I was blind, but now I see. It's a straightforward statement, but it says so much.
Yeah, it highlights the power of simple truth.
Yeah.
Sometimes the most impactful words are the ones straight from the heart.
Right.
No sugarcoating, no pretense.
And there's also this story of a person who's told to return home and tell how much has been done for you. It suggests that our personal stories, they can inspire and uplift other people.
Yeah.
Offer hope and encouragement to those who might be going through similar stuff.
It's like we each hold a piece of the collective human story.
Yeah.
And when we share our experiences, we contribute to this tapestry of resilience and faith and transformation.
So what if we all embraced this idea of ourselves as storytellers, as bearers of hope, sharing our experiences to light the way for others?
I love that.
What if we saw our own lives as testimonies to the power of faith, resilience, and the possibility of change?
It's a beautiful way to look at our experiences,
Yeah.
not as isolated events, but as threads woven into a bigger story of hope and healing.
Okay, moving on to number 9, words of wisdom. This one feels kind of weighty. What exactly are words of wisdom? Is it about having all the answers?
I don't think so.
That's
The
fine.
source seems to say that wisdom is more about seeking understanding,
Yeah.
acknowledging what we don't know,
Yeah.
and being open to guidance from something bigger than us.
There's a quote here that says, if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask and it will be given to you. It's about realizing we don't have to have it all figured out.
Right.
They also use this classic example of a ruler who asks for wisdom
Okay.
and is granted it in abundance. And then that wisdom is put to the test in this really dramatic way,
Wow.
revealing a deep understanding and discernment.
It shows that wisdom isn't just about knowing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's about using that knowledge with compassion and insight and a deep understanding of people.
There's another quote that says, for wisdom comes from knowledge and understanding. It's like wisdom is a gift that unfolds as we learn and grow.
And the more we align ourselves with that source of wisdom,
Yeah.
the more clearly and effectively we can express it.
So how do we cultivate wisdom in our own lives? Is it about reading tons of books?
Right.
Having all kinds of experiences? Or is it something more? A way of being in the world?
Yeah.
A commitment to seeking truth and understanding?
I think it's a mix of all of that.
Right.
It's about being open to learning from what we go through and what others go through.
Right.
It's about developing a discerning mind,
Yeah.
a compassionate heart, and a willingness to see things from different angles.
Sometimes I think wisdom also involves humility, recognizing that we don't have all the answers,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
Absolutely. Humility lets us approach life with curiosity and a willingness to learn, which are crucial for wisdom.
Okay, let's move on to number 10, prophetic words. This one can feel a bit mysterious.
Okay.
Are we talking about predicting the future?
Not necessarily. I think they're using prophetic in a broader sense. Not as fortune-telling, but more as words that offer guidance, inspiration, and purpose.
Okay, they share this story about a group of people who are guided by a divine force on their journeys.
Okay.
And sometimes that guidance comes through unexpected ways, like dreams or intuitions.
It reminds us that we're not always in control.
Right.
And that sometimes the best thing to do is surrender to a wisdom that's bigger than our own.
There's a quote about prophecy that says its purpose is to strengthen, encourage, and comfort. It's about offering words that uplift and inspire,
Right.
pointing towards a bigger vision.
It speaks to the power of words to connect us with meaning and purpose, to remind us that we're not alone, and to guide us even when the path ahead is uncertain.
So how do we know true prophetic words from just random thoughts or wishful thinking? Is it about trusting our intuition? Seeking guidance through meditation or prayer?
I think it's a mix of things.
Yeah.
It's about developing this deep inner knowing, trusting our gut, and being open to guidance from unexpected places. It's about recognizing those times when something just clicks inside us,
Yeah.
even if we can't fully explain why.
Okay, we're in the home stretch now.
Yeah.
Number 11 on our list is words of love and peace. I mean, these seem like pretty universal desires.
Right, that's
Who doesn't want more love and peace in the world?
Right, but the source challenges us to go beyond just the sentiment
Okay.
and really think about how we embody these values in our words and actions.
There's this powerful teaching that says, peace. I leave with you my peace.
Wow.
I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid.
Wow.
It's talking about a kind of peace that goes beyond circumstances.
It is peace that comes from inside, from a deep connection with something greater than ourselves. And it's a peace that we can share with others through our words or actions and just by being ourselves.
They also talk about the idea that those who strive for peace are doing divine work. It's like a call to be active peacemakers in the world.
It emphasizes that peace isn't just the absence of conflict.
Right.
It's a way of being, a way of relating to ourselves and others that creates harmony, understanding, and compassion.
And of course, there's that famous passage that describes love as patient kind, not envious, not boastful, always protecting, always trusting, always hoping, always persevering.
That's a beautiful and challenging description of love.
It is.
It says that love is an active force.
Yeah.
A choice we make, not just a feeling.
So how do we become more loving and peaceful in the way we communicate? Is it about saying, I love you more often? Or is it something deeper?
Yeah.
Like a shift in our mindset, a commitment to speaking and acting from a place of compassion and understanding?
I think it's an ongoing journey, a practice of cultivating kindness, empathy, and forgiveness.
Right.
And it starts with being aware of our own thoughts and intentions.
Yeah.
Recognizing that our words can either build up or tear down.
Okay, just 2 more to go.
Yeah.
Number 12 on our list is words of humility and consecration.
Okay.
These might seem a little different at first, but the source suggests they're actually closely connected.
Interesting.
Humility in this context isn't about putting ourselves down or denying our strengths.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we're not the center of the universe.
Yeah.
That there's a power bigger than us at work in the world.
There's a quote that says, "Submit yourselves then to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Come near to God, and he will come near to you." It's like humility opens us up to guidance and support from something larger than ourselves.
And that's where consecration comes in.
Right.
It's about dedicating ourselves to something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah.
To a purpose, a cause, a set of values that we hold sacred.
They use the example of someone who stood by their faith even when facing incredible danger. It shows the strength and resilience that come from aligning ourselves with something we truly believe in.
It's about recognizing that we're part of something bigger than ourselves
Yeah.
and that our lives
Hmm.
have meaning and purpose beyond just our own desires.
Absolutely.
So how do we cultivate humility and consecration in our own lives?
Mhm.
Is it about elaborate rituals or something more practical, like a daily practice of gratitude, surrender, and service?
I think it's about living our values,
Yeah.
making our actions match our beliefs.
Right.
It's about showing up in the world with humility and purpose, recognizing that we're all connected and that our actions matter.
Okay, we've arrived at the final type of word on our list, words of hope.
Mm.
This one feels especially powerful in the world today with so much uncertainty and division. Hope can feel like a lifeline sometimes.
Absolutely. Hope is like this beacon of light, guiding us through tough times and reminding us that even in the darkest moments, there's always a chance for a brighter future.
The source tells this story about a promise that spanned generations
Okay.
and ultimately led to something truly amazing.
Wow.
It's a beautiful illustration of how hope can endure through time and hardship.
Yeah. Inspiring us to keep going even when the path ahead isn't clear.
It's a reminder that hope isn't just wishful thinking.
Right.
It's a force that can carry us through challenges
Yeah.
and inspire us to work towards a better future.
They also share a story about a leader who encouraged their people to face these impossible odds, reminding them that they weren't alone,
Yeah.
that a higher power was with them every step of the way.
It's a powerful example of how words of hope can give us courage and resilience,
Right.
helping us overcome obstacles and achieve things we might have thought were impossible.
Yep.
And there's this incredible passage that says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go."
Wow.
It's like a divine pep talk, urging us to face our fears
Yeah.
and embrace the unknown with confidence and faith.
It speaks to the power of faith and hope to sustain us through tough times,
Right.
to remind us we're not alone, and to give us a glimpse of a brighter future.
So how do we become more hopeful in how we communicate? Is it about ignoring the challenges,
Right.
or is it about acknowledging them while still believing things can get better?
I think it's about finding that balance between realism and optimism.
Okay.
It's about facing reality, but still believing that change is possible.
Yeah.
We have the power to create a better future.
Okay, we've explored all 13 types of words from our source material.
Yeah.
That was quite a journey. But before we wrap up, I want to touch on one last point they make.
Okay.
It's not enough to just talk about these words. We have to put them into practice.
I agree. Actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, the real transformation happens when we live these words,
Right.
when they become part of our everyday interactions and how we are in the world.
Absolutely.
There's this passage that says, "You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden." It's a call to let our light shine, to be beacons of hope, love, and encouragement.
And that's a powerful challenge.
It is.
To consider how our words can not only change our own lives, but also impact the lives of others,
Right.
creating a more compassionate, harmonious, and hopeful world.
I love that. It's about becoming more mindful of our words,
Yeah.
recognizing they have the power to heal, encourage, and create positive change.
And it's not about being perfect.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
about progress.
Yeah.
It's about catching ourselves when we slip back into negative speech patterns
Right.
and gently steering ourselves back to a more compassionate and empowering way of talking.
They share this quote that really stuck with me. It says, "Let your light shine before others so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven." It's like a reminder that our words, when filled with love and intention, can be a beacon of hope.
That's a beautiful image. It speaks to the ripple effect of our words.
Yeah.
A kind word, a word of encouragement, a simple thank you.
Right.
They can all make a difference, not just for the person who hears them, but for everyone around.
It makes me think about all the times I've been touched by a kind word from a stranger,
Yeah.
or inspired by someone sharing their story of overcoming something difficult.
Those moments stay with you.
They do. They have the power to change your whole path.
Absolutely. And that's what's so exciting about this,
Yeah.
realizing that we each have the power to create positive change with our words.
It's a big responsibility,
It is.
but it's also an incredible opportunity.
For sure.
So for you listening, I'd like to leave you with this question. What kind of impact do you want your words to have on the world? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
Something to think about.
It is. Because our words are more than just sounds. They're powerful tools that can shape our reality and create a more beautiful, more compassionate, and more hopeful world.
That's a beautiful thought.
We've covered a lot today. Let's take a moment to let all this sink in before we move on to our final thoughts.
Welcome back to the holy discussion. I hope that was a helpful pause. We talked about a lot with these 13 types of powerful words.
It has been quite the journey.
It has.
And you know what's interesting is how connected all these words are. They're not just separate ideas, but like threads woven into this bigger picture of spiritual and emotional health.
Yeah, that's so true. Like we talked about gratitude and forgiveness.
Right.
But they're not really separate, are they?
Yeah.
Like when you cultivate gratitude, it can actually make forgiving easier. And then forgiveness can open your heart to experience even more gratitude.
Exactly. It's this beautiful cycle.
I think this amazing loop.
And then you add things like hope and encouragement.
Right. When you offer hope to others, it's not just lifting them up.
Right.
It's strengthening your own hope too.
Yeah.
And the encouragement you give often comes back to you even stronger.
I'm also thinking about the power of those life testimonies,
Yeah.
sharing our experiences, the good and the bad.
It's so powerful.
It can be so powerful, not just for us, but for the people who hear our stories.
It's about connecting with each other,
Yeah.
reminding ourselves that we're not alone. And those stories, when they're filled with faith and wisdom and love, they can really change things.
Okay, so we've explored all these different types of words, but how do we actually put them into practice? The source really emphasizes that it's not enough to just talk about them.
Right.
We have to live them.
It's about making a conscious choice to change how we talk.
Yeah.
To choose words that lift people up, inspire them, create a more peaceful world, both inside ourselves and in how we treat each other.
I love that. It's about being more aware of the words we're using, recognizing that they have the power to heal, to encourage, to make a difference.
And it's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about getting better.
It's about progress.
It's about catching ourselves when we fall back into those negative patterns.
Yeah.
And gently bringing ourselves back to a more compassionate and empowering way of speaking.
They share this quote that really resonated with me. It says, "Let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven." It's like a reminder that our words, when they're filled with love and purpose, they can be a beacon of hope for others.
It's a beautiful image. It shows how our words can have a ripple effect.
Right.
A kind word, a little encouragement, a simple thank you.
Yeah.
They can all make a big difference. Not just for the person who hears them, but for everyone around.
It makes me think about all those times when a kind word from a stranger has touched me, or when I've been inspired by someone sharing their story of overcoming something tough.
Those moments stick with you.
They do. They really have the power to change your whole direction.
And that's what's so amazing about all of this.
It is.
The realization that we can all create positive change with our words. It's a responsibility, but it's also an amazing opportunity.
So for everyone listening, I want to leave you with this question. What kind of impact do you want your words to have on the world? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
That's a powerful question.
It is. Our words are more than just sounds. They're powerful tools that can shape our reality and create a more beautiful, more compassionate, more hopeful world.
That's a beautiful thought to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the power of words. Until next time, may your words be filled with kindness, wisdom, and the power to uplift and inspire.